You turn the golden key, expecting a plush luxury suite, but push open the door to find a cramped, dark closet stuffed with yellow buckets and dirty mops. You are the lead singer of a rock band, completely exhausted and desperate for a place to sit down. You know you need to go back out into the hallway and ask for the correct room, but the thought of complaining in your second language is terrifying. The person holding the clipboard outside isn't an evil antagonist, but he is a festival manager moving at lightning speed. His rapid-fire instructions and chaotic pacing make all the English you learned in a quiet classroom instantly evaporate. When standard textbook learning fails in real time, the actual barrier to fixing your problem is rarely a lack of vocabulary. It is a sudden, total collapse of confidence. Linguists refer to this exact sensation as the language freeze. It is an involuntary cognitive shutdown, where the brain, overwhelmed by the pressure of processing unfamiliar sounds at high speeds, simply goes blank. When faced with a native speaker talking incredibly fast, the familiar vocabulary you learned completely evaporates. The rapid pace of the language leaves you feeling entirely invisible, fading away like a quiet ghost trying to hide in the busy hallway. Under this severe cognitive overload, learners often try to make themselves invisible. You adopt a ghost-like mentality, whispering or retreating entirely, just to avoid sounding rude or making a grammatical error. Beating this freeze does not mean you need perfect grammar. You just need to build your shield. By assembling a few strong, pre-practiced phrases like bricks, you can actively protect yourself from getting lost. Think of this response as a linguistic shield. By treating specific, pre-rehearsed phrases as functional tools, you can actively protect yourself from the chaos of a fast-paced environment. Watch this rapid conversation waveform. First, the break. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Can you speak slowly, please? Then, state the issue neutrally. I'm sorry, but there is a problem. This is not our room. Finally, an actionable fix. Could you please check the booking? These three structural blocks combine to pull you out of the shadows. You stop being a passive victim of a bad situation and become an active, strategic problem solver. But the words alone are only half the strategy. Delivering these phrases with a shy, whispering ghost tone signals weakness, whereas projecting a loud, clear, unapologetic boss tone commands immediate respect. Pairing a confident posture with these phrases anchors the vocabulary in your mind, making it easier to recall English words under high stress, which brings us to a quiz. Outside that mop closet, what's the move? Option A, hide quietly in the dark with dirty yellow buckets? Or option B, channel the boss, walk up to the manager, and use the shield? Option B is the only logical choice. Building a vast vocabulary is useless if you lack the psychological courage to actually project your voice into the room. So you walk straight up to that fast-talking festival manager and immediately pull the emergency brake. You look him in the eye and say, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Can you speak slowly, please? The manager doesn't laugh, he doesn't mock you, he apologizes, immediately slows his pacing down, and asks how he can help, proving in real time that the shield actually works. You follow through with phases 2 and 3. The manager checks his chart, realizes he misspelled the booking, confusing room 202 with the luxury suite into 112, and personally escorts you out of the dark mop closet and directly into the beautiful, correct VIP room. The transaction succeeds because communication is meant for connection, not for perfect performance. You don't need flawless grammar. You simply need to project your voice and use your shield. When you prioritize functional results over perfect syntax, the language stops being an obstacle and starts being a tool. To survive an encounter like this, you rely on 5 core functional terms. A mistake is an error. A booking is your reservation. The manager is in charge. The room is your assigned space. And clean describes the state it should be in. Today's grammar coin is using have to for something that is necessary. By spending this coin in your sentence, like saying, I have to talk to the manager, you express an absolute necessity that cuts through any confusion. Developing this level of control takes repeated, messy exposure in the real world. Each successful transaction, no matter how small, builds the neural pathways necessary to handle the next high-pressure moment. Now it's your turn. Have you ever had to use your second language to fix a mistake? Share your experience in the comments below. Keep building your shield, and never forget that your voice is your most powerful. Picture this: you've spent 12 long hours on planes and buses. You finally reach your festival venue, exhausted. A staff member hands you a heavy golden key to your VIP suite. All you want is to drop your bags and rest. But when you push that door open, there is no luxury suite. You're staring into a dark, tiny closet packed to the ceiling with dirty mops, yellow buckets, and cleaning supplies. You turn around to fix the issue, but the only person who can help is the festival manager. He's marching down the hallway in the clipboard, firing off instructions to his crew at lightning speed. You know exactly what you need to ask, but the moment you try to interrupt a rapid-fire native speaker, the pressure spikes. Your vocabulary vanishes. Your mind goes completely blank. It doesn't matter how well you did on your English exams. The sudden fear of stumbling over your grammar or pronouncing a word wrong makes you freeze. In high-stakes moments, this hesitation makes you feel invisible. Faced with that manager, a terrifying thought creeps in. It actually feels easier to sleep next to a dirty mop bucket than to risk the embarrassment of complaining in broken English. This happens because of a very specific biological reaction. When we are unsure of our language skills, the brain doesn't view a grammatical error as a simple mistake. It registers it as a severe social threat, triggering a sudden, overwhelming response. We often believe that we must achieve perfect grammar before we are allowed to speak. We convince ourselves that unless our sentence is flawless, we don't deserve to have our basic needs met. This creates a significant gap in how we learn. We study in quiet classrooms, reading textbooks and passing quizzes, yet we struggle in the real world because we prioritize a flawless performance over actual utility. Chasing perfect grammar is not a measure of your intelligence. It is a mental wall that leaves you stranded in that mob closet. To move past that wall, we need to shift how we view language. Effective communication requires the steady endurance of a long-distance runner. Real progress happens through repeated, imperfect effort over time. When panic hits, you cannot rely on complex, on-the-fly translations. You need a pre-built sequence of simple, reliable phrases. You need a linguistic shield. The base of your shield is the polite opener. I am sorry, but there is a problem. It requires almost no complex grammar. It is polite, it is direct, and it establishes the situation before the other person can react. Next, you add the direct issue and the fix. This is not our room. Could you please check the booking? You aren't explaining the mops or the closet. You are stating the facts and forcing the manager to take on the burden of solving the problem. Individually, these are basic vocabulary words. But when you lock them together, they form impenetrable armor. They guarantee you will not be ignored. Functionality beats complexity every single time. But memorizing the shield isn't enough. Your brain requires an emotional anchor to retrieve those words during a crisis. The words only work if the delivery is right. If you deliver these lines while whispering into your collar and avoiding eye contact, the shield will fail. The fast-talking manager will brush right past you. You have to physically override your body's stress reflex. Stand upright, push your shoulders back, and adopt the persona of the boss. Taking up physical space signals authority to your own brain. And if the native speaker is still firing words at you too quickly, deploy the ultimate defensive phrase. I am sorry, I don't understand. Can you speak slowly, please? You aren't failing, you are controlling the pace of the conversation. A calm mind paired with clear, unapologetic English allows you to navigate the language barrier. Your accent doesn't matter. Minor errors don't matter. Only your clarity does. So, you step out of the hiding space. The lobby is loud, people are moving fast, and the manager is practically running towards you, glued to his clipboard. You stand tall. You project your voice and say, I am sorry, I don't understand. Can you speak slowly, please? Immediately, the momentum breaks. The manager stops talking and looks up. And here is the result. He doesn't laugh or get angry. He apologizes for rushing. You deploy your shield, state the problem, and he checks his list. It turns out it was a tiny clerical error. You were assigned room 212, not 202. Because you chose to use your voice, the mistake is instantly fixed. You leave the yellow buckets behind, walk down the hall, and finally drop your bags onto the soft sofas of your actual VIP suite. In this moment, success is measured by the exchange of information. Communication prioritizes human connection. Perfection remains an academic goal, but your voice solves real-world problems. Let's review the structural bricks we used today. Mistake, booking, manager, room, clean. Master these to navigate almost any hotel issue. We also utilized a crucial tool, using have to for necessity. We have to fix the problem. It gives you agency. Now it's your turn to take action. Think back to your own travels. Have you ever faced a terrible hotel room or a ruined booking? Drop into the comments and tell me the story of how you fixed a mistake using your voice. Whatever you do, do not let the fear of a flawed sentence stop your journey. Keep building your shield, keep claiming your space, and remember that using your voice is a journey worth taking.